Animals can really shock us with how smart they can be. One little cat showed up at a fish shop carrying a leaf, and what he did next blew everyone's mind. This tiny cat had been coming to the store for many days. Marcus, who owned the shop, really liked animals and told his employees not to scare the cat away. "Just leave him alone," Marcus would tell them. "He's not causing any trouble." The cat would sit quietly in the shadows, looking through the big glass window. He seemed to be watching carefully how people behaved inside the shop. But whenever Marcus or his workers tried to come near him, the cat would run off. He didn't want anyone to pet him. He was just there, observing. It seemed like he was figuring out how people gave money to get fish. Cats have been bringing little presents to people for ages, ever since they began living close to humans. When a cat cares about you, it might bring a dead mouse to your bedroom, or put a toy in its food dish. These creatures are intelligent, and they understand how to get people to notice them. This cat wasn't any different. He showed up at the shop so much that Marcus and the regular shoppers started naming him Whiskers. Whiskers was always peaceful, and his gentle ways made people feel good. Then, one morning, something incredible took place. For the very first time, Whiskers actually entered the shop. He was carrying a leaf in his mouth. People inside the store turned to look as he calmly got in line with everyone else. He stood there waiting for his chance, exactly like other buyers. He didn't cut in front or make demands. He just observed people handing over money and walking out with their fish. Then the line moved up, and so did he. When it was his turn, people felt anxious and wondered what he might do. Some customers had already bought their fish but decided to stay and watch. "Well, would you look at that?" one shopper whispered to someone nearby. "Check out that little fellow." It was obvious this small cat had thought this through. He hopped up onto the counter and gently put the leaf down in front of Marcus. Then he sat still, eyes shining, body completely motionless. It took just a second for everyone to figure it out. He was attempting to purchase a fish using that leaf. The whole place erupted with giggles and amazement. He had watched customers hand over paper bills, and to him, the leaf probably seemed like the same thing. He wasn't being sneaky. He wasn't planning to grab the fish and escape. He was offering what he owned the way he understood it, a fair exchange. He needed food, just like everybody else. Marcus stared down at him, this little cat standing there with a leaf like it was precious. How could anyone refuse? "All right, little buddy," Marcus said, smiling big. "I guess we can work something out." Marcus reached down, picked out a small fish, and handed it to the cat. Whiskers seemed delighted with what he'd earned. He grabbed the fish, rushed outside, and sat down to eat his well-deserved meal. Everyone who witnessed it couldn't stop grinning. It was one of those special moments that stick with you. The news traveled fast among customers, and people wouldn't stop talking about the clever cat who showed up to purchase fish using a leaf. Nobody expected it to happen again anytime soon, but they were mistaken. The following day it occurred again. Marcus was busy working in the storage area when an employee came looking for him. "Your best customer is back," they said, smiling widely, "and he's brought his payment with him." There was Whiskers, standing in line again, leaf in his mouth, waiting calmly for his chance to buy another fish. Marcus had to laugh. He was glad to help him out. Marcus's family had run that fish shop for decades. When he was little, he would go on fishing adventures with his father to help catch what they would sell the next day. Marcus handled the fishing, and his dad stayed behind to take care of customers. Gradually, they grew the business bit by bit. Now that Marcus was the boss, he still went out on the boat once or twice weekly, but usually his crew took care of the catches. Throughout the years, their customers had come to know them really well. Some had even seen Marcus grow from a boy into a man. But despite all those years and all those faces, nobody had ever been as loyal as Whiskers the cat. Whether it rained or was sunny, whether it was hot or freezing, Whiskers showed up every single day. Some days his leaf would be soaked and wilted from the storm. Other times it was just a tiny fragment, because the rest had crumbled away. Still, never skipping a day, he came to purchase his fish. "No matter what the weather, there's our guy," Marcus would say to his wife. "He never skips a visit." Marcus started setting aside a small fish especially for him, and on days when Marcus wasn't around, his wife and employees all knew exactly which fish to keep. It became obvious that Marcus had developed real affection for his little customer. He frequently wondered about Whiskers' life outside the shop. Where did he rest at night? Was he protected? Was somebody looking after him? Eventually, Marcus decided he couldn't just keep worrying. He had to take action. He picked a peaceful area behind the shop and turned it into a cozy space, just in case Whiskers might want it. He set up a covered cat bed in a sheltered corner, along with a water dish and some cat food. Whiskers still received his daily fish, naturally, but Marcus figured he might like having something else once in a while. And although the cat was beginning to appear healthier, Marcus understood that winter was approaching. One fish per day wouldn't be sufficient to keep him strong when the temperature dropped. Marcus lived right next to the shop, so he could peek out his window to check on Whiskers. And when he finally spotted the little cat curled up in that bed, sleeping soundly, it felt like a major victory. "Would you look at that?" Marcus said to his wife, pointing toward the window. "He's actually using the bed." Marcus's wife and the shop employees couldn't help but grin watching him. It was pretty amusing seeing this tough fisherman get so worked up over a tiny cat, but that's exactly what was going on. And although she didn't say anything about it, Marcus's wife had already started getting ready for the possibility that when winter arrived, they might have another fuzzy family member joining them indoors. Even so, nobody could have predicted what was about to happen. Before the freezing weather really hit, Whiskers didn't always rest in the little shelter Marcus had created, but it was clear he understood it was there for him. That mattered a lot. He had a secure place any time he wanted it. Most days, even if he didn't end up in the bed, he still came to the shop like always, leaf in his mouth, ready for his fish. Then one morning, something seemed off. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. Marcus had been running errands all afternoon and only got back to his shop right before it was time to close. The moment he walked through the door, his heart dropped. The small fish he always set aside for Whiskers was still there on the ice. Nobody had touched it. This had never happened before. His workers hadn't seen the cat anywhere all day. This really bothered Marcus. Something was clearly not right. The cat had come every single day for over 2 months without missing once. Where was he? "Did anybody see Whiskers today?" Marcus asked his workers, though he already knew what they'd say. "Sorry, boss," one of them answered. "We watched for him all day, but he never came." Marcus didn't wait around. He kept the shop open for another hour, thinking maybe Whiskers would still show up, but he didn't. He went to check the little shelter in the back, nobody there. The water bowl and food were still full. Marcus could feel the worry growing inside him. He walked around the neighborhood, softly calling the cat's name, looking in tiny spaces where he might be hiding. Nothing at all. Then he grabbed his car keys and drove through the area, using his headlights to look down the streets as it got darker. He called out through the car window, going slow to check every spot where a cat might hide. but he couldn't find anything. Finally, he had to drive back home with a heavy heart, hoping there was some simple reason why Whiskers wasn't around. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep much. His mind wouldn't stop worrying. His wife tried to make him feel better, telling him the cat would probably show up the next morning like he always did. Marcus wanted to believe her, but when the next day came and the fish was still sitting there untouched by lunchtime, his worry changed into real fear. Something bad happened to him, Marcus said to his wife. He would never act like this. His wife took care of the store, and Marcus went out again, determined to find the little cat. His workers promised to call him right away if Whiskers showed up, but that phone call never came. And just like Marcus was afraid of, something was definitely wrong. Somewhere out there, Whiskers was in real danger. Marcus was desperate. He drove around again, stopping a lot, looking in every place he could think of. Narrow alleys, under front porches, behind big buildings. He knew Whiskers wouldn't go very far. He never had before. But now, it felt like he had just vanished. The hope Marcus had been holding on to started to disappear. Whiskers was so tiny, and the world seemed so huge and way too silent. Then Marcus drove by a park, and something made him hit the brakes hard. Just off to the side of the road, near some grass, he saw a little pile of fur that looked way too familiar. His heart sank. He had been hoping to find Whiskers hiding somewhere, maybe hurt but still alive, but this small shape wasn't moving at all. Marcus's chest felt tight as he got out of the car, fear getting stronger with each step. On any other day, if it had been a different animal or just some random trash, Marcus might have driven right past without thinking about it. But not today. Not with that color, not with Whiskers still gone. He had to find out. He walked closer, not breathing, and then there he was. It was Whiskers, but Marcus couldn't tell if he was still alive. Just when fear was about to take over completely, the tiny cat raised his head just a little and looked up at him. He was alive, but just barely. His body was covered in deep cuts, and one of his legs looked totally broken. The other one was twisted in a bad way. It looked like he had been hit by a car and then left on the side of the road. Marcus felt his heart breaking. What should he do? Technically, this wasn't even his cat. Whiskers had just been a regular little visitor, not anybody's real pet. But standing there, thinking about that sweet face, about the leaf he brought every day, Marcus already knew what he had to do. "Don't worry, little guy," Marcus whispered, carefully picking up the hurt cat. "I'm here now." He gently lifted the injured cat and rushed him to the animal doctor. He didn't care how much money it would cost. This little guy had worked so hard just to earn one fish each day. He was important. Marcus wasn't going to leave him behind now. The vet looked at him right away. The news wasn't good. Whiskers had deep cuts and bruises all over his body, and both back legs were hurt. One was broken, and the other was badly twisted. He would need surgery, and even then, getting well was going to take a long time. But the vet team thought there was a good chance he could make it. "We'll do our best for him," the vet told Marcus. "He's tough." While Whiskers stayed at the vet hospital for treatment, Marcus worked really hard trying to find his owners. He just couldn't believe a cat this sweet and smart didn't belong to somebody. But after checking everything, they found no computer chip. Signs were put up everywhere in the neighborhood, and phone calls were made, but nobody ever came looking for him. It was hard to believe, but it seemed like Whiskers really didn't have a home to go back to. At first, that made Marcus feel sad, but as the days passed, a different feeling started to grow: hope. Marcus had never had a cat before. He grew up with dogs and didn't know much about cats at all. But this one, this little leaf-carrying, fish-earning cat, was different. and Whiskers seemed to feel the same way about him. Every time Marcus came to visit, the cat would get excited and try to get out of his cage just to reach him. He would curl up in Marcus's arms and stay there, totally relaxed. Marcus liked to think that Whiskers really cared about him. Not just the pieces of fish he brought every day, the way the cat reacted to him, the trust in his eyes, the way he calmed down when Marcus held him. It felt like something deeper than just food. They were getting ready to take him home, to make him part of the family forever. But then a phone call changed everything. Someone called and said they thought Whiskers might be their missing cat. "We think he could be our Luna," the woman on the phone said, her voice full of hope. "She went missing months ago, right around when you said this cat started coming to your shop." Their cat named Luna had disappeared months ago, right around the same time Whiskers first started showing up at the fish shop. It was possible, they said, that he had just been lost all that time. They sent some pictures, and honestly, the cat did look a lot like Whiskers. Marcus tried to feel happy for the cat. After all, finding your real family should be a good thing. But deep down, he couldn't lie to himself. It hurt. He had been excited about bringing Whiskers home. It already felt like Whiskers was meant to be with them. The day before Whiskers was supposed to leave the vet hospital, the family came to see him. They were hopeful and excited, but things didn't go like they expected. The woman looked at him carefully and said, "He doesn't look exactly like Luna." Still, they tried to explain it. Maybe the accident changed how he looked. Then the vet opened the cage, and Whiskers shot out straight into Marcus's arms. He didn't think twice. He didn't even look at the couple standing there. When the woman stepped forward to pet him, Whiskers moved away. And when she reached out again, he made an angry, hissing sound. "Luna, baby, don't you remember me?" the woman said quietly, tears starting to come. That surprised everyone. This was a cat who had always been calm and friendly, even around strangers at the shop. It was painful to watch. The woman was crying, leaning against her husband, whispering that she couldn't believe their sweet Luna would act like that. It didn't make any sense. If this really was their cat, wouldn't there be some recognition? Some sign that he felt comfortable? That's when the vet decided to ask about their cat's medical history, and that's when the real truth came out. Luna, their missing cat, was a female who had been spayed and had a computer chip put in when she was a kitten. But Whiskers was a male who had been neutered and had no computer chip when they first brought him in. As much as the couple wanted it to be true, Whiskers wasn't their cat. "I'm really sorry," the vet said gently. But based on the medical records, this definitely isn't Luna. It was a hard thing to realize. They had looked for Luna for months before finally adopting a rescue cat. As for Whiskers, his choice was obvious. Marcus was his person. When he was finally healthy enough to leave the vet, there was no question about where home was. They drove back toward the shop, but Marcus didn't take him there. He took him next door to the house. "Welcome home, Whiskers," Marcus said, carrying him inside. They had prepared everything: a soft bed with warm blankets, toys, and a heating pad for the cold winter days when his wounds still hurt. What got his attention right away were the toys, especially a soft little fish he carried around everywhere like it was treasure. That first winter they kept him inside, worried he might wander off again. But when warmer weather came, they let him go outside and explore. He wore a tracking device, though they barely needed it. Whiskers only went as far as the fish shop next door to visit Marcus and say hello to customers. "There's our famous cat," customers would say. "The cat who pays with leaves." The cat who once traded a leaf for food now had everything: a warm home, all the fish he could want, and most importantly, a family who loved him. What more could any animal ask for? Did you like this story? If you had discovered Whiskers injured on the street, would you have assisted him despite him not being your own animal? Share your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed this tale, please follow our channel and give it a thumbs up. Compassion toward animals inevitably returns to us in the most wonderful forms. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Wishing you a fantastic day.